Welcome to Easy Email Marketing. I'm your host, Yael Keown, mum, FIFO wife, MBA, coffee lover, Survivor superfan, and creator of the email experience. In Easy Email Marketing, you'll benefit from my nearly 20 years experience, where I'll be teaching you all the tips, tricks, and insider info on how to create feel-good, non-spammy experiences for your subscribers. Let's get stuck in. Welcome back to Easy Email Marketing. I'm your host, Yael Keown, and today's episode is all about planning your email content and really how we tend to overcomplicate it. And frankly, we set way too high expectations of ourselves. Now, definitely when it comes to the new year, we seem to have this burst of energy and this excitement and think about all the things we're going to do. It's exciting, it's fresh, it's new, but often we can actually set ourselves up for failure and think we're going to create all these things, but it just doesn't happen. We miss out on one because we just set too high an expectation of ourselves. So today I want to talk about how we can simplify our email content plans so we actually get them sent and we actually have some success through the year. But first, I wanted to let you know all about a free workshop I have coming up. It is a 2023 email content planning workshop. It's happening February 2nd. So yeah, I know we've skipped January, but I think many of us have. And it is totally free. You can show up live, which I highly recommend you do because there will be opportunity to brainstorm content together and to pick my brain about what email ideas you have, or there will be a recording for a limited time, about a week, if you can't make it live, because I understand obviously different time zones, all of that good stuff. So during this workshop, I will take you through my step-by-step process for planning a full year of email content. And side note, this could actually be used for your other content plans too. But the best part is we'll be doing it in one quick sitting. So it will be done. At the end of it, you'll have your worksheet, which I'll provide. It'll be completed with your exact email plan. So there will be no more excuses that you don't know what to send through the year. And this will be also highly strategic. So we will make sure this is aligned with your business goals, with your strategic goals through the year. So to join us, you have to register. You can do that at yaelkeown.com/content. So I would love to see you as part of it. All right, but how do we make our content plans low pressure? How do we make them achievable? And how do we actually follow through? Here are 7 key tips to help you out with that. First tip is to ditch the long form content unless you really love it. So you do not need to have the longest, most valuable email in the world to be worthy, in quotation marks, of your email hitting someone's inbox. So have a little bit of think about where online content is going today. With TikTok and with Reels, our attention spans are getting shorter. Most people are tending towards short, snappy pieces of content. We're short on time. We just want that dopamine hit of new stuff constantly. So a quick takeaway, a hack, a win is sometimes a lot more valuable than a big, epic 10 top tips for doing something email. So please let this take the pressure off your emails. Actually providing that shorter form content is what your subscriber wants. In most cases. So if that's what they want, give it to them. Don't feel like you have to compensate for the privilege of being in their inbox. So this could be a quick trick, a hack, answering a commonly asked question. It could be a quick inspirational message. It could just be highlighting the newest products. It doesn't matter. It can be quick, snappy. Just always have that question in your mind about what does my subscriber want? What do they want to read? And how can I make that really short, really actionable? So please don't overcomplicate your emails by thinking you have to make every single week's piece of content something epic. It can be simple, it can be short, it can be sweet. Of course, if you love writing that type of thing, absolutely do it. But you don't necessarily have to commit to that every single week. Maybe once a month if you want to have something a bit more juicy and meaty. Go with you, go with what your audience wants. Okay, tip number 2 is to remember that what's obvious to you isn't necessarily obvious to your audience. And what's simple to you might not be simple to them. So if you have some of these quick tips, this kind of reiterates that point. If you have something that is useful, share it. So actually I had this pop up for me personally when I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw Jordan Gill had a post about, click crumbs. She trademarked the name click crumbs about when people click a link in an email and how to track it. I'm like, yeah, I teach that like all the time. But she's taken this point and given it a sexy name and made it all, really, really juicy and exciting. And it's something simple. It's obvious to me, but it's not obvious to everyone. So we always need those reminders about what is the thing that our audience wants to know, and can we just put those things out there? And if it's really obvious to you, that means it's super simple and easy for you to create and for you to write. So sprinkling those ones in. Which leads me to tip number 3, which is to talk about it again, even if you have talked about it before, especially if it is the basics. So you are likely constantly getting new subscribers and new people who haven't heard some of this basic content that you've shared before. And many people will also forget, or they're at different stages, or they weren't ready to hear it back then, but they're ready to hear it now. So go ahead and repurpose that content. Go through past emails or blogs or podcasts or videos and resend them, or maybe give them a little bit of an update, a little bit of a tweak. Maybe you've got a new insight on it, but constantly revisit that. So you will probably have a few key pieces of content that you could probably revisit every single year because it is the essential stuff. Now, an upgrade to this is adding in a content funnel. I've spoken about this at length before. I have one of these for my business. It's a previous episode about why you might want a content funnel, which is like basically an automated series of these beginner emails. So maybe it just means you review those each year, but you also resend them to your existing subscribers. Tip number 4 is to repurpose things from your other channels. So remember, you don't need to create different content for your blog, podcast, video, Instagram, Facebook, etc. Every time you create a piece of content, you should be sharing it in multiple places. Sometimes you add a tweak just to suit the platform. So you maybe share it in video form versus static text. Maybe you make a nice little carousel post, but the caption's the same. Whatever it is, just make sure you are sharing that same piece of content that you've put effort into in multiple places. A marketing message needs to be seen at least 7 times for it to hit home. And people aren't necessarily checking out all of your platforms. So you need to be sharing the same thing over and over again because people absorb your content in different ways. They connect with you in different ways. And we want to make sure if you've put effort into something that you are getting your bang for your buck. This is all about the amplified marketing method. This is what I teach in my programs. And it's all just about making sure your message is heard in multiple places, in multiple ways, and that's what really amplifies it and makes it get through to the most people. So not only is it, are you thinking about, can I post the same thing I did on social media to email? I'm worried someone will see it. Not only is it irrelevant to not worry about it, it is actually essential to strategy. It is good strategy. It is smart strategy to repurpose to other channels. And I hope it goes without saying, but if you're creating a blog or a video or a podcast and you are putting in a lot of effort to content as part of your content marketing strategy, please email them to your list. I see so many business owners just hoping someone will come across their content, whereas your subscribers want to know about that stuff. So please send it to them. Easy email. It doesn't have to be a copy and paste of the content. It literally can just be a 1-line introduction, click a link and have a listen or have a watch or have a read. Okay, tip number 5 is add simple engagement getters. So simple engagement getters to your content calendar because engagement is essential for your sender reputation and deliverability. So this is all about hitting those inboxes versus spam, but it also helps get to know your audience better. It's a win-win. So it's important that you scatter these engagement getting campaigns throughout the year. Perhaps every single month, if possible. I know for email experience members in your 2023 content plan that I provided, I've included at least one engagement getter option every single month. So you have a way to regularly connect with your audience. So different engagement getters that you could use include asking specific questions for a reply. So not just, what do you think about that? But something specifically relevant to the point of your email. It could be getting them to vote on an option by clicking a link, or sharing what category they fit into, like doing some market research by clicking a link. It could be a roundup post of best of content, or roundup of your favorite resources and different things around or people to follow on social media. Or it could be as simple as clicking through to a video or a reel that you shared and it seemed to be taking off. It's already getting lots of comments, so why not amplify it by letting your list know that it exists and to check it out? So putting one of these in every single month is a great way to have a simple email, because you're just asking a question, getting some input, getting a bit of that two-way relationship happening. And it makes this a simple email without the pressure for you to create something big that's all about giving. Instead, this one is about listening, which is really, really impactful. Tip number 6 is to think about key events and holidays. So simple content ideas can be related back to, of course, common holidays and experiences. So Christmas and New Year are common examples, Mother's Day. There's some of the obvious ones, but think about things like changes in season or back to school or end of financial year. Or you can even look at fun calendar days like International Coffee Day for some inspiration. So just do a Google search on these ideas, and if you were talking about what the collective is talking about, if the collective is talking about a particular topic and you are jumping on that trend, you're jumping on that bandwagon, sometimes that helps you show up more. It helps you, people go, oh yeah, I've been thinking about that. What does Yale think about that? And they will click through. Or even better, you could do the opposite and disagree with what the collective is saying and have your own slant on it. Always love to have a little bit of an opposite approach too. So think about those key events and holidays, and soon enough, you'll fill up your content calendar just with that. And sometimes those pieces of content really just write themselves, which is really cool. And tip number 7, the final one, is just to allow time for magic. It is great to have a full years of content mapped out, but that doesn't mean you need to stick to it 100%. It doesn't even mean you need to stick to it 80%. If you have a burst of inspiration in a moment of something you want to share, or something exciting happened, like you won an award, or you appeared on someone's podcast, or you reached 10,000 followers on Instagram, you can change your plans. You can whack those emails in. You are not locked in. What having an email plan does is it gives you an outline and always gives you the comfort and security and the confidence that you have ideas, valuable ideas that your audience will want. But it doesn't mean that if something else comes up, you can't just swap it out. Just push your other ideas back a week, or put that specific one that was scheduled for that week into your next year and your future ideas list. I always have a list running. So trust me, when you get started, you'll begin to start finding you end up with more ideas than weeks in the year, which is exactly what we want. We want that flexibility, but we want to also have that peace of mind that our content is covered and that we can easily sit down and do these emails, because the power of having a content plan like this means when you come to write those emails, when it gets to Monday and you go, crap, I need to send an email now, you aren't sitting there for an hour going, what am I going to write about? You can go to your content list. I love going in and go, okay, this is what my topic idea is. Do I still want to share that? Yes. I will look at that like before even breakfast, before I'm doing something else. And then when I'm doing drop off and stuff, it's ruminating and I'm writing the email like in my head. And then by the time I get to the computer, it just comes out. So that's the power of having a content plan. And I would absolutely love to help you to create your own content plan for the rest of this year. Through the content planning workshop. Make sure to register at yalekeown.com/content before February 2nd. There will be a limited time replay available as well. So quick recap of the 7 tips to make your content plans much more low pressure and actually achievable. 1, ditch the long form content unless you love it. 2, remember what's obvious to you isn't necessarily obvious to your audience. 3, talk about it again, even if you have talked about it before. 4, repurpose other channels. 5, add some simple engagement getters. 6, think about key events and holidays. And 7, allow time for magic. Thank you so much for joining me today. I would love to hear from you about what you've enjoyed from this episode, perhaps which of these tips resonated with you most and what you are going to implement. Or, of course, I'd love to know more about what you want to hear about throughout the year as I build my content plans. Please let me know over on Instagram. I am at yalekeown, all one word, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to Easy Email Marketing. It's an absolute honor that you chose to listen. If you love this episode, then it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review so that others can find this podcast and make their email marketing easy too. Finally, make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss a thing. Until next time, have an awesome day and make sure to keep showing up and serving in those inboxes.